Hi there Scorpio, welcome back to Wild Lotus Tarot. This is going to be your weekly intuitive tarot reading for June 1st to the 7th. I've got some oracle cards here for you. In your recent past position we have the energy of Temperance and the Five of Swords. Current or focus energies this week we have the Knight of Swords and the Moon energy. Coming in towards the end of the week we have the energy of Judgment and the High Priestess. Really strong intuitive energies showing through here, Scorpio. We've got a couple of other cards behind the Temperance and Judgment as well. You've got a big completion going, just saying, you know, it's maybe sort of an awakening or wake-up call that's going to go along with that. You're really going to have to tune into that intuition. There's possibility of truths come to light, information being revealed, or getting great insights this week. And I think it's to do with some kind of situation that you've tried to patch up or rectify in a situation of commitment. So of course that will be different for some of you guys. It could be in work, it could be in business, it could be a committed friendship. These are general readings, guys, reading for a collective. So you'll know what it is for you. So before we get into the tarot, let's go to your oracle cards. Okay, we have Priestess, which I'll get to in just a moment. I'm going to start with the Yogic path card. We have Pratyahara. Now this is an interesting card here because it's about releasing the distractions from your life and the things that may have held you back. And this says that it could be anything from a person to, you know, an addiction to eating too much food, maybe social media, stimulants, maybe, you know, being too much out in the world, that sort of thing. And it's really calling you to, you know, to go within, to, you know, sort of illuminate from within. And that's when you can access your true knowledge. And that is definitely, you know, the energy of the High Priestess, the Moon. We've got the Priestess here as well. So you're being called to kind of quieten it down so that you can hear that information, but also pay attention to what needs to leave your life, what might not be in alignment anymore for you. And I think that's the situation that we're seeing leave your life this week. Now we also have Priestess here, and this card here asks you in particular, how are you being called to step up and lead in your life? Look, we've got Priestess, High Priestess, and the Moon. These are three cards of divine feminine and intuition. So you're being called to deeply tune into, you know, the gut feelings, the feelings in your body, the feelings in the heart, any visions that you might be getting, paying attention to dreams and synchronicities this week. And, you know, the Priestess is somebody who taps into that divine feminine energy, whether you are male or female. It's not gender specific, it's just the energy of, you know, tuning into the natural cycles of being perceptive, of being intuitive, and using that to really guide yourself, to guide your decision making, to guide what you accept and release into your life. So it's a really powerful energy. Let's see how that plays out in your reading. So we'll start with the recent past position. As mentioned before, we've got some extra cards here that wanted to come out, and it is a major arcana fest. I should just point that out. We actually have 1, 2, 3. There's one other one behind there, 4, 5, 6 major arcana in the spread. You've probably heard me say this plenty of times before, but if you're a new viewer, you may not have. Generally, the more major arcana in a spread, the more significant the event that you're dealing with, and the more tied it can be to the life lessons, the karmic lessons, and that kind of thing. So in the recent past, we have the Hierophant, Temperance, and the Five of Swords. So just wanted to point out first that we have 2 number 5s here. You know, number 5 in tarot is the number of conflict, and it is also the number of change. And when we have a repetition in a reading, it generally means that, you know, this is amplified. So we have some kind of sense of conflicting energy. I always say that change is the energy that transmutes, not conflicts, that transmutes the conflict. And we have great change coming later in this reading. So what I'm really seeing here is a situation of conflict or distress in an institutionalized setting or in a commitment. The Hierophant can represent our place of work or study. It can be the institute of committed relationship or marriage. It could be, you know, friendship, commitment, and that kind of thing. And the Five of Swords is a card of conflict, be it internal conflict, like you not feeling sure about the situation or the person that you might be dealing with in that situation, or an actual conflict where there might be exchanges of harsh words. We have the Knight of Swords in this reading, which can be an argumentative or challenging energy. So yeah, the Five of Swords is also a victory card, but it's a victory that comes at a cost. So you could ask yourself, where have you or the other person been trying to sort of get one, up against the other person, or be competitive, but in a sort of we could say a negative way here. The Five of Swords is kind of that quite harsh, biting energy. So it really is time to put down those swords. The Hierophant can also indicate spirituality. Some of you might be conflicted about your spirituality. We've got all these intuitive cards here. Some of you might be tuning into that more and kind of, questioning that presence in your life. And, sometimes when we start opening up to intuition and spirituality, we can doubt it, or we can wonder if we might be going a little bit crazy and that kind of thing. Definitely not. You could just be going through an opening or an awakening to that energy. The Hierophant can also be the card of challenging values. See the two keys here in the card. The one that points to the left has been said to signify the values that we were kind of born into or were imposed on us by our parents, or the institution that we're dealing with, be it the values of our lovers or the people that we've been in relating situations with, or even workplace values. You could say we kind of pick up values in our workplace culture or our university culture, that kind of thing. And the other key is kind of your values, the values that you've grown into as you've matured. And there is that question of maybe being conflicted around, do I want to play the game and go along with the values of a situation, of a partner, or whatever it may be, or is it time for me to really live by my truth and my authenticity? And that could be the conflict, if it's an internal conflict for some of you, or sometimes that becomes external conflict as well, because arguments or disagreements or discrepancies can often arise when we are having a difference in values, because we see life differently, right? We respond differently. We have the Temperance energy here, which is the great karma. The Temperance energy follows on from the Death card in the Major Arcana. So look, some of you may have already gone through some kind of ending or cycle change in this commitment, but I feel for some of you that is coming later in this week or in the near future. Temperance is the great rebalancer, the regenerator, the restorer of energy. It's about doing some spiritual alchemy to kind of rebalance your emotions. Temperance can be an indicator that you might need to do some work to rebalance your mental, emotional, physical health. It's a card of divine guidance as well, being, tuning in and being led through the situation this week. It's also talking about, that soothing. I really feel this is the energy that has come to soothe this kind of disagreement that I think has arisen or has been simmering over time. It's the calming energy to that conflict. So I'm feeling like, there has been some kind of, conflict around a commitment situation. Temperance is coming in as that kind of soothing energy and really asking you now, to rebalance and restore yourself, because there is a sense of that there is a rebirth coming for you. There's that new dawn, that new day on the horizon, ready to dawn. I just feel like the path forward now might not feel like it's illuminated, but that is coming for you once we work through this situation. So pretty strong energy and a lot of energy going on with those cards there. Okay, let's go to your focus or current energies this week. We have the Knight of Swords and we have the Moon. Okay, so the Knight of Swords can indicate a couple of things. In this reading in particular, there is the possibility that this could be, that kind of argumentative energy or harsh words or strong communication. So there is that reminder to tune into that temperance energy and to, to temper, to soothe, to calm, to balance if things do kind of erupt with that person that we saw in the situation, that whoever that is, that Hierophant energy for you. The Moon here is a really deep card of intuition. So again, just following those gut feelings. But it's also a card of potential undercurrents, deceptions, hidden truths, There's all sorts of levels to this card. So maybe there was in this situation here where there was that kind of conflict that was bubbling. Maybe it was because you perceived that there was a bit more to the story, more to the person, or something they weren't quite revealing to you. And that could be what you kind of finally communicate and ask for the truth. Or there could be something that erupts out of that. The moon can also be about subconscious memories, information, messages, downloads coming to the surface. So that is another possibility that you might be going through some kind of way of awakening of that. The Knight of Swords can also indicate, really swift progress. Maybe after you have a communication with this person, all of a sudden, you can charge forward, you can actually start to move again. So that is definitely an indication there. So either very fast progress, or the fact that there could be some communication that brings the truth to light, or as a result of truth or information coming to light. And if that does, then we just need to remember to keep calm, basically, because we don't want things to erupt. We want to be able to work through things, calmly and smoothly. Now, coming in towards the end of the week, or that's going to play out across the near future, guys, we have some really intense energies here. We have got Judgment, the World was behind that, and the High Priestess. So for a start, this is incredibly strong potential for spiritual awakening. We've got that all over this reading here. And we have the World, which is the biggest card of completion, completing a cycle, generally a karmic one in the tarot. So Judgment is that full awakening or wake-up call to a situation that's kept you small and confined. So I do feel that about that situation, the fact that maybe you were living by someone else's values, that you were, involved in kind of the energy of conflict, you were questioning that your commitment in that situation. Now it's really time to decide, am I staying or am I going? Because Judgment can be about second chances as well. But we do have a sense that potentially the situation has kept you constricted or stuck in a sense, or kept you smaller than you really need to be. And it's now asking you to rise up, even though you feel vulnerable. You might feel like you're being actually stripped of an identity, especially if you're leaving a relationship, leaving a job, letting a friendship go, whatever it may be. We can really feel stripped bare of something that's held space in our lives. Judgment can be the wake-up call that can be quite firm, because maybe there's been signs and synchronicities along the way that we may potentially ignore or pass off or not want to see. So sometimes that's when metaphorically the angel gets out the trumpet, blasts in your ear and says, hey, it's time to address this situation, because karmically it's actually done. We have the energy of the World here, and the World is the last card in the major arcana that says you have arrived at the completion. You've learned everything you need to learn from the situation. There is a sense of karmic contract being completed, signed on dotted line, and you are now ready to jump through that Saturnian hoop into your next challenge or chapter or life lesson. And the reminder is really that we need to be in effortless flow like this dancer. We don't hold on. If there's a tower falling, a tower moment, we don't hold on to the tower. We don't stop the energy of death coming in and clearing the slate and ending the cycle for us. We let go. We surrender and accept, and then we allow that to happen, and we be vulnerable. Lots of nudity here, which represents that. So that is your challenge. The challenge is to allow something to complete that wants to complete, even though it might be painful. There might be hurts associated with it. And one time, I think you dreamt or manifested this situation into being, because the World card is often a completion of something that the Magician, as the first card in the major arcana, actually wills into reality. But this is a card of victory, guys, and it's a victory that we will be celebrating down the track. Now we have the High Priestess here as well. So she is just that indicator of tuning into that intuition. You know in your gut what you need to do, what moves need to happen, and you can trust that intuition. Intuition is all over this reading. It's absolutely all over this reading, Scorpio. So you're going to be on form in that. And the wisdom of the body is always correct. The challenge is to drop out of the mind, the overthinking, the overanalyzing, and access the intuition of the body, because that's where it truly lies. It doesn't lie in the analytical, egoic mind. So again, the High Priestess can be a revealer of mysteries, truths, and information, kind of like the Moon energy as well. So, or the Moon energy can be more the hiding or the shadowing of the information, and the High Priestess can be the revealer, but she chooses when the time is right to reveal. So maybe it's time, the timing is right for information to come out about this situation, and that's what's leading to the final showdown, and that's when you make that decision to complete. And with a world completion, guys, it's normally very final and there's no going back on it. That's why Judgment is here to sort of really challenge you, you know, are you really ready to move on, or is there a second chance in this situation? It can be a card of forgiveness as well, so it's about not harboring any resent if there has been, you know, challenges and conflicts in the situation. So it's really huge energy here, Scorpio, but it's also really exciting because through every completion comes a new beginning and a new chapter, and generally with every cycle we complete, when we start the next one, we're evolved and we're going into it as a new person with a new frequency. So it is really exciting, as challenging as it can be. Okay, Scorpio, I'm going to leave it there. I do hope you enjoyed the reading and I wish you all the best with it. Keep in mind, I am reading for a collective. It won't be everyone's reading every week, so don't try and make it fit if it doesn't feel like it fits. Feel free to leave me a comment. I do love reading them all and responding to them all, and it helps me get to know you guys and connect with your energies as well. And I will see you back here next week for another weekly reading. I do have the love readings for June up on my channel as well that you might want to check out. See you next time, Scorpio.